I'm starting tonight's State of the City in a very non-traditional way, a way that might make some people uncomfortable, but it's a conversation we must have, one we're having in the mayor's office, and one we need to have more intentionally across our community. Black people in communities of color are angry, frustrated, tired, and even fearful about many things happening around the country and in the city of Columbus. And as your mayor, it's my job to lead us to solutions. Racism is real. Discrimination is real. And they impact the lives of many of our neighbors every day, sometimes even multiple times a day. So what I'm sharing tonight is my equity agenda, an agenda that calls out racism and discrimination where it exists and my plans to address it as your mayor. Now we'll start some time-honored traditions that remind us of the greatness of our country. And we'll hear from the young people in this neighborhood, people who will be most impacted in the future by the decisions we make today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One, two. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. The brave.
My neighborhood is growing.
My neighborhood is creative.
My neighborhood is stylish.
My neighborhood is historic.
My neighborhood is building.
My neighborhood is learning.
My neighborhood has the power to change the world.
My neighborhood is protected.
My neighborhood is beautiful.
My neighborhood is collaborative.
My neighborhood is a family.
My neighborhood is global.
My neighborhood is having fun.
My neighborhood is active.
My neighborhood is walkable.
My neighborhood is safe.
My neighborhood is home.
My neighborhood is home.
My neighborhood
My neighborhood
My neighborhood
is home.
Please welcome President of the Columbus City Schools Board of Education, Ginther Adair.
Good evening, Columbus. What a great honor it is for you to be here today. And on behalf of the entire district, I welcome you to West High School. That video reminds us that having strong neighborhoods is important. And you know what else is important to strong neighborhoods? Strong schools. And strong schools make strong neighborhoods. And it takes all of us to do that. I don't know if you know, but it is the 175th birthday of the Columbus City School District. Can you believe it? Now, a lot has certainly changed since 1845 when we were first established, but one thing hasn't, and that's our dedication to the students that we serve each and every day. Now, sometimes it's important that we make sure we take a look back. It was Maya Angelou who said, if you don't know where you've come from, you don't know where you're going. And questions and answers and seeking solutions to big problems like equity is something that we really have to be able to look back about. And that's one thing that I am excited about in leading the new team at the Columbus City Schools. I would like my fellow board members to please stand. Vice President Ramona Reyes, Board Member Michael Cole, Board Member Eric Brown, Board Member James Ragland, Board Member Carol Beckerly, and Board Member Dr. Pierce. Before you, we are the new team, and along with our superintendent and the amazing staff that we have, we are ready to take on the challenges that come ahead. We are a diverse team representing many professions. We're moms and dads, we're educators, and we are up for the challenge. We have a common goal, and that goal is our children. We are ready to address the hard issues. We will not hide, and we are here to take action. And this action isn't just alone. It's with all of us. It's with our city partners. It's with the mayor. It's with city council. It's with our commissioners. It's all of us, our judges who sit on our bench. Government is a system to strive for the common good, and we are all part of that system. In our new vision and new leader moving ahead, we are really excited about the journey that we've embarked on with Battelle for Kids, the portrait of a graduate. You may think to yourself, 1845, have we really changed the way we are actually educating? Kids come to school just like they did back then. They came into a classroom and they sat down and they were ready to learn. But maybe we need more. Maybe we need more than that. And as our jobs in the Columbus City Schools is to prepare the next generation of leaders and workforce to have a strong public education system here in Columbus, we are excited that you have participated in our community conversations. Conversations around what are the hopes, dreams, aspirations we all have for our students and they have for themselves. What are the skills and mindset that they need for success, and how do we give those to them? And what does a learning experience need? What does it look like? And how do we make it equitable for all? And these are questions that we are working on right now, and it takes all of us to do. This afternoon, I was honored to be part of a lunch at the Columbus Foundation where we had a song from Opera Columbus. She sang, "A Change is Gonna Come." Some of you might know that song by Sam Cooke, written in a time where change in the 1960s was, and they were fighting for that change. Well, I'm here to tell you that a change is gonna come and transformation is here. Transformation of our district, and we are here in partnership for transformation for our city. And it takes all of us. So if you are a staff member, a proud staff member of CCS, will you just raise your hand and keep it up? If you are a parent or a family member, will you raise your hand? If you are a proud community partner providing services to our team, will you raise your hand? If you are a nonprofit leader, a business leader in our community that cares about our students, will you raise your hand? If you are a faith-based leader, if you are a neighbor, and if you are a proud alum, raise your hand and hold them high. It takes all of us in this room. All of us will make this happen. All of us are part of the transformation. As we at Columbus City Schools transform our part of the system, which is to educate our children for the future, we, as Columbus, will move all of us forward together. We will make equity, prosperity, opportunity for all, for a brighter, smarter, and stronger future for Columbus. And I'm so excited, again, to be here to welcome you to West High School and to introduce a senior, MAKAYLA Rock, who is a mentee of our mayor. So I didn't mention, our mayor too is a proud alum of our school district, and we went to rival high schools, so you know, I have to dig him a little bit about that. I'm a brave, or he's a brave and I'm a star. So MAKAYLA, won't you come on out, and we're gonna welcome you so that you can welcome the mayor, and I wanna thank all of you so much for being part of our transformation as a district and for our school and our city. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's MAKAYLA Rock, and I'm a senior here at West High School. I grew up on the west side, and this is my neighborhood. We have lots of character here at West High School, and each student can be themselves, but somehow we all fit together. I'm a cheerleader, and I'm involved in ROTC. One of my favorite memories is being on color guard at one of our football games. I was so nervous to be in front of people, much like tonight. When I graduate in the spring, I plan to attend Columbus State Community College and then transfer to Ohio University. My goal in life is to be a social worker and help children. Mayor Ginther is my mentor this year, and I have been lucky to have his guidance. We meet every Thursday and always have a funny story to share. I look forward to hearing about his daughter, and he always asks about how my family is. It is truly my honor to introduce my mentor and our mayor, Andrew J. Ginther.
Good evening. While you're standing up, let's give it up for those outstanding young people, MAKAYLA and everybody from Highland and from West. Well, thank you so much. I am honored to be here tonight, embarking on a new year, and in the second term as your mayor. You re-elected me to continue to move this city forward with shared prosperity and equity. And it is exactly what we will do. It would not be possible to make the vision for an equitable city a reality without my outstanding cabinet and staff, especially my chief of staff, Ken Paul. I would also like to thank my wife, Shannon. Shannon and our daughter, Clara, has supported me every step of the way because we know leading this city is a family commitment, one that impacts our lives every day. And I'm grateful to her and to Clara for sharing this journey with me. I also want to thank all of our elected partners, Columbus City Council President Shannon Hardin, Council President Pro Tem Liz Brown, Council members Mitch Brown, Rob Dorns, Shayla Favor, Emmanuel Remy, and Priscilla Tyson. City Attorney Zach Klein is here. Our great City Auditor Megan Kilgore. Our Franklin County Commissioners, President John O'Grady, Commissioner Kevin Boyce, and Commissioner Marilyn Brown. And as mayor, you always need a powerful voice fighting for you in Washington. And we have the best Congresswoman in all of America, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. Thank you for what you do for us. Thank you. You're dealing with this president, you better have a strong voice and somebody that's willing to stand up for your community. And we're lucky to have her. A couple of people from state government, Lydia Mahalik from our Director of Development, and Jack Marchbanks, the Director of the Department of Transportation. Two incredible partners. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, Lydia. And could I ask all of the other elected officials here tonight to please stand so we can recognize you for your service? I know we have judges here, county treasurer. Thank you so much. And just a few more thank yous for those who started us off this evening. The West High School ROTC Cowboy Battalion for presenting the colors. To Caddy Acosta, Elijah Mills, and Ariana Weaver from Highland Elementary School for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and West High School's Urban Harmonics for singing the national anthem. The Columbus Board of Education President Jen Adair for the warm welcome to West High School, to my mentee MAKAYLA Rock for the kind introduction. I'd also like to thank our Public Safety Corps who served as ushers tonight, and also our public safety cadets who are part of a pipeline to get young people interested in joining our police and fire ranks. And a special thanks to the great principal, Greg Costello, here at West High School. Thank you so much, Mr. Costello, for welcoming us so warmly to your house tonight. Equity is the cornerstone of my administration. Tonight, I will lay out what we're doing this year and in the next 4 years to continue to grow this city, and also to assure that we stop racism and discrimination wherever we see it. the state of our city. I see you and I hear you. And I look forward to meeting with you in the coming weeks, you and your group, to hear your voices. I'd like to continue my comments as we talk about an equity agenda. Well, I look forward to sitting with you in the weeks ahead to hear directly from you about your thoughts and how we can work together.
Ladies, gentlemen, honored guests, please remain calm as our police officers address this issue. It may be necessary for you to vacate your row to give the officers access. Your assistance during this time will help us to more quickly get back to the reason that we all came here tonight, which is to hear our mayor talk about the state of the city, our city. Thank you so much for your assistance. Thank you.
Dissent is the highest form of patriotism, and I do not reject or look down upon those who are so passionate that they choose to become activists and raise their voices of concern, of injustice, and look forward to meeting with those individuals and the groups they're associated with in the weeks ahead. We need to have all voices at the table, those we agree with and those that we don't. The state of our city is strong, but for Columbus to reach its full potential as America's opportunity city, we must grow dynamically and inclusively. Let's be clear, I'm not giving you a list of 10 things tonight that we can easily check off at this time next year. The challenges that we have chosen to tackle together are not simple nor easy. They will not be solved overnight, nor in the next year. The work will be messy, and it will be frustrating at times. But I'm up for the challenge, because as the old Jewish saying goes, if not us, then who? And if not now, when? From day one, my administration has viewed its work through the lens of equity, and we have made progress. Last year, Michelle A. Miller came to Healthy Beginnings at Home, a program led by Celebrate One, when she was pregnant and leaving an abusive relationship. She received assistance for housing as well as diapers, wipes, clothes, and car seats. And 4 months later, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy who will celebrate his first birthday this year. We know stable housing is one of the key indicators of infant mortality. Pregnant women experience less stress after finding homes and are able to prepare strong environments, which create a positive foundation for their infants. Babies in safe, loving homes can develop healthy habits and live successful lives. Michelle A. represents the positive impact of healthy beginnings at home. And Michelle A., we are so glad you're here with us tonight. And we look forward to that first birthday party. Since 2011, we've seen a 28% decrease in infant mortality in Franklin County. The infant mortality rate in our Celebrate One zip codes, our opportunity neighborhoods, has decreased by 20%. Sleep-related deaths, something we can be proud of. It's been a great community effort. Sleep-related deaths, one of the greatest causes of infant mortality and oftentimes the most preventable, has decreased greatly through the use of education, training, and the distribution of cribs. But unfortunately, the racial disparity remains relatively unchanged. Black babies are 2 times more likely to die before their first birthday than white babies in Celebrate One zip codes, and 2.5 times more likely to die in Franklin County as a whole. 65% of all sleep-related deaths are black babies. That's why we are laser focused on cutting this disparity by focusing our Celebrate One efforts on the health of women before they become pregnant and decreasing premature births in our community. Our goal is to make sure babies reach their first birthday and thrive in the years that follow, ensuring they are prepared for kindergarten. And we all know kindergarten readiness doesn't start with pre-K. It starts with prenatal care, on to infancy after healthy, full-term pregnancies. The infant and toddler years represent the time of greatest development in a child's life, from motor skills to language to emotional well-being. Future Ready, under the direction of Jane Leach, is developing a strategic plan to assure that all of our young people are ready for kindergarten, because we know that kindergarten plays a huge role in determining the opportunities that will be available to students both in and out of school. And we've seen great success in our pre-K efforts at the Linden Park Early Childhood Center that just this year was able to work near full capacity with 182 children enrolled. We want to replicate that success right here on the Hilltop with some of our youngest residents. I'm happy to report that the Hilltop Early Childhood Center has moved beyond the planning phase. Design will be completed by the end of the month. We will be sending out the bid for construction this summer and plan to break ground in October. This center will provide 240 children with the opportunity to attend high-quality pre-K. In addition, the center will have a pediatric medical suite that will provide primary care, immunizations, and well-child checkups. When I took office 4 years ago, my first action was to form the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. In those 4 years, we've completed a disparity study looking at the data from 2012 to 2015. We're developing and implementing policies and procedures to address the documented prime contract and subcontract disparities. I want to thank Interim Director Demita Brown and all of my department directors for the dedication and diligence in this work. But we didn't wait for the results of the disparity study to begin the much-needed work. Since 2016, we have increased city spending with minority and women-owned businesses by 47%. And we included an aggressive minority participation clause in the agreement to keep the crew in Columbus. In the last quarter of 2019, 28% of the work being done was contracted to minority and female-owned businesses. Businesses like Smoot Construction, Columbus Steel Erectors, and McDaniels Construction. It's a great start, and I'm confident we will reach our minimum goal of 30% minority participation. Tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce the leader who will help us get there, our new Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. Beverly Stallings Johnson, who will continue the great progress. Dr. Johnson. I am proud of the work of the Columbus Women's Commission that we formed in 2017 under the direction of First Lady Shannon Ginther. In Columbus, women make an average of 81 cents for every dollar a man makes, and that disparity is even greater for women of color. The Women's Commission launched the Columbus Commitment in 2018 to engage businesses and organizations on issues around gender and pay equity. To date, more than 250 employers have signed on, 60% of them being private companies. They're exploring their data. They're exploring the data in their own organizations and sharing ideas for assuring pay equity in the workplace. Some companies have already achieved this success, like Nationwide under the direction of Executive Vice President Gail King, and Gebbon Communications under the guidance of founder and president Heather Whaling. Big or small, every company and organization can benefit from signing the Columbus Commitment, because the truth is this: gender and pay equity are not just moral decisions. They're the right business decision. I also want to commend the Columbus Women's Commission for their work on the toll of evictions on family stability. Franklin County has a staggering rate of evictions, significantly higher per capita than the state average. And those evictions disproportionately impact women, especially women of color. The commission was key in the Franklin County Municipal Court's recent decision that allows people with evictions to have them removed from their records after 3 years. That's more than 400,000 records. Instrumental step in assisting thousands of families to move forward in finding stable, affordable, safe housing. So I want to thank Franklin County Municipal Judges Ted Barrows and Mark Hummer, as well as our Clerk of Courts Lori Tyak, and their magistrates for their dedication and improving our eviction policies here in Franklin County. Diversity and inclusion expands beyond race and gender. We are adding language to our human service grant contracts to address discrimination and cultural competency for the LGBTQ community. Now, in order to receive these funds, organizations must agree to provide services without regard to gender identity and expression or sexual orientation. And they have to agree to maintain a commitment to the cultural competence of the staff and organization. We're holding those to whom we grant funds to the same standards we require of ourselves. We're also working hard to promote a complete count for Census 2020. The response to the census will determine how many representatives we have in Washington fighting for the needs of our city. The count will also decide how much we receive in federal funds for critical programs including Medicaid, Medicare, school lunches, SNAP, food stamps, and critically important publicly funded childcare. Those who are most likely to be missed in the count are those who most need their voices heard. I encourage each of you to fill out your census starting next month and help us reach out to all residents in our community. My second term, I will remain steadfast in my top 3 priorities: neighborhoods, 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 and my commitment to serve all of our neighborhoods. A little over a year ago, we released the One Linden Plan, a resident-driven effort designed to establish a vision for shared prosperity and growth based on the concerns, needs, and aspirations of the community. And we're making progress our neighbors can see. Fire Station 16 on Oakland Park is under construction. Hudson Avenue, a road that once divided Linden into north and south, is being completely redesigned into a unified thoroughfare. It represents a $20 million city investment, and we will break ground in November. Habitat for Humanity recently opened new single-family homes along Myrtle Avenue, with more to come. And NextGen Corp has recently selected Homeport as its developer to support creating downtown Linden by building 100 units of senior housing and commercial space at Cleveland and Myrtle Avenues. There was a huge void left. We're making progress. We knew we weren't going to do this overnight, but over time, one step at a time. We know there was a huge void left in the Linden community when Kroger closed its Northern Lights store. So this November, a store will open at Cleveland and Chittenden, providing residents access to fresh fruits and vegetables. This market is modeled after Fresh Food for All People on the South Side, and it will include free groceries and a dignified shopping experience. There will also be free prescriptions and health screenings that will be provided by Charitable Pharmacy of Central Ohio. The city was proud to invest $1.5 million into this project, and Nationwide Children's Hospital is raising the operating dollars. I want to thank Nationwide Children's Hospital for being a great partner in this and so many efforts in our community. We broke ground in July for the new 55,000 square foot Linden Community Center with a teaching kitchen, music studio, and gymnastics room, as well as a 20-acre park with a spray ground and walking paths. It will be central to community life in Linden. The center is being completed under a Community Benefits Agreement, or CBA, that guarantees a percentage of construction is done by local residents in the neighborhood. We're investing our resources. We ought to benefit from that investment, all of us. The CBA has opened doors into the construction trade for many, including Wayne Cobb.
My name is Wayne Cobb. I am 69 years of age. I am a technician intern here for Alford Inc. Well, I've done janitorial work on and off just to make extra money. In fact, I was hired as a substitute custodian for Columbus City Schools, and I was in that building, that school building, and was able to look down out the windows and see this construction site being built. I decided to walk over when I saw a gentleman walk in the fence line who turned out to be Rick Slocum, the superintendent.
I have never seen a more passionate person interested in construction. The day I met Wayne was actually at the back fence, and he said he had a lot of interests. He used to work at the school behind us and used to be on the top and would watch us.
He was nice enough to allow me to come to the site one day a week for 1 hour to tell me what is going on here, how they're building. And from there, he introduced me to Miss Denise Gilliam, who came in and interviewed me, and that is how this dream job has become possible. My family were originally from Kentucky. We first rented an apartment at Pondexter Village, and then they heard that homes were selling in the Linden area, the South Linden area, so in 1957, they bought a home. So I've been in Linden all of these years.
I usually deal with younger interns that are fresh out of college. He's my age. We both have been in the service. I'm an alumnus from where he's going to school now at Columbus State. He's interesting. He has stories to tell. He's my right-hand man out here on the project.
This is a new profession for me. It's challenging. The work I've always done in the past has been manual labor. This is mental. They don't look at me as old. I just wanted the guys. Yeah.
Wayne is an excellent example that there are many career paths that lead to a good quality of life. My thanks to Elford, the unions, resident leaders, the NAACP, and many others for their commitment to diversity in the workforce. Building up our communities is more than just investing in the place. It's about investing in the people. Jeff Edwards, CEO of Installed Building Products, is standing up to offer financial literacy to residents in an effort to build community wealth. It isn't just about neighborhood development. It's about community wealth. Momentum on Up is currently being offered to 33 low-income families in Linden through Sisters of Empowerment. After completing the course, residents are encouraged to build up a savings of $600. And when they do, Jeff matches it. His goal is to grow this program through nonprofits around the city. So just imagine thousands of our neighbors who are currently living paycheck to paycheck, having savings to help support them and their families when life throws them curveballs. I want to thank Jeff for his bold action giving that family more control over their future and building their financial security. I want to thank Jeff for his bold action that we hope will serve as a model to other businesses and leaders in the community. I want to replicate our successes in Linden throughout all of our neighborhoods. We chose to have the state of the city here at West High School for a reason. Since I took office, I've come to West High School every Thursday to mentor. You met my current mentee a little earlier in the program. MAKAYLA Rock, who really is a rock star, is going to graduate in just a few months, and she has her sights set on becoming a social worker, helping families and children, and she'll attend Columbus State Community College. MAKAYLA was exactly who we were thinking of when we rolled out the envisioned Hilltop community-driven plan last month. We detailed the investments the city has already made on the west side, but tonight I'm making new city commitments. First, we will build a new police substation for the Sullivan Avenue corridor. The new substation will double as a neighborhood pride center with plots for a community garden and a basketball court. And we're exploring making this new substation home to a real-time crime center where crime analysts will be able to crunch data and get the information back to our officers on the street. Second, the city's Division of Code Enforcement has assigned a dedicated code officer in the Sullivan Avenue corridor. And I believe she's here tonight, so I want to introduce her. Please welcome Maggie Lafferty. Maggie, would you stand up? I don't know how many business cards she brought tonight, so give her a little bit of a break. Maggie will handle all code violations within the corridor, which includes a combination of responding to complaints as well as a proactive presence in the area. By allowing her to focus on the Sullivan Avenue corridor, she can truly embed herself in the community, partner with other departments and community organizations, apply enforcement to the parcels that need it, and ensure that our residents' concerns are being addressed in a timely and expedited fashion. Next, our Department of Public Service is launching a $10 million comprehensive streetscape improvement plan along the Sullivan Avenue corridor. This plan will focus on replacing existing sidewalks where necessary to make them ADA compliant and more accessible, sealing pavement cracks and replacing old striping on roads, replacing deteriorated curbs and damaged signs, replacing traffic signals and upgrading streetlights, and adding bump outs to slow traffic in certain locations. And we're going to be adding flower pots to those bump outs to beautify the neighborhood. This year, the city will begin a partnership with the Mid-Ohio Food Collective to transform a 7-acre site into an innovative center for healthy and affordable food access. The Wheatland Farm will include a large area for food production, including high tunnels and vertical crops for year-round growing, a community area with space for classrooms, community garden plots, a test kitchen, and a kids' play area, and a Mid-Ohio market to provide fresh and affordable food to the Hilltop community. And tonight, we're committing resources to battle human trafficking along Sullivan Avenue. We are increasing education to students, parents, teachers, and counselors, creating partnerships with nonprofit organizations to deliver services and provide support to victims, supporting outreach opportunities that engage potential victims and offenders prior to arrest to receive treatment and resources. And we are investing in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week drop-in center known as Sanctuary Night to feed and counsel those being trafficked. And I want to give a special note of thanks to a great friend and partner in this work, Judge Paul Herbert. and all of his work with the Catch Court and all of the work he does to fight human trafficking. Thank you, Judge Herbert, for your partnership and your vision. I remain excited about the great things happening in Columbus, but we cannot talk about vibrant, inclusive neighborhoods without talking about affordable housing in our equity agenda. I believe that housing is one of the greatest challenges facing the city and the region. How we address it now will greatly impact our city's growth for the next generation. The number one contributor to affordability is density. And we will begin a thorough evaluation of our 70-year-old zoning code to be able to include infrastructure necessary to support the right type of growth. Neighbors, we cannot say that as a community we support affordable housing if we're not willing to make every neighborhood available to all. It is important to create mixed-income neighborhoods, market-rate housing in Linden and the Hilltop, and housing residents can afford in Clintonville and downtown. So starting this year and committed through 2022, working with many community partners, we will be investing $33 million that will result in more than 1,300 new or renovated housing units for families of 4 who make less than $75,000 a year. Last year, the voters of Columbus provided voted bond authority of up to $50 million to tackle the affordable housing issues facing our community. Tonight, I pledge to use that community investment to more than double the number of new and renovated affordable housing units for a total of 5,000 by 2025. Also geared towards families who are making less than $75,000 a year. To meet this goal, the city's Department of Development will be hiring a new housing executive focused exclusively on our policies and practices to increase the number of affordable and market rate units built in our city. In 2019, the city and county created the Central Ohio Community Land Trust, an innovative approach to home ownership intended to fight gentrification. The Community Land Trust is a shared equity form of ownership where a family that makes between $65,000 and $95,000 a year can buy a new house, but the land underneath is kept permanently in a nonprofit trust. So when that house is resold, the trust ensures it is sold at an affordable price, not only benefiting the current family, but future families for generations to come. So far, the Community Land Trust has constructed its first 8 homes, all of which are sold or have buyers identified. And right now, the Community Land Trust is working with 5 partners to construct 46 additional trust homes on the south side, Near East, and Franklinton, and will have additional houses available in March. In 2020, the Community Land Trust will expand into other Columbus neighborhoods, including Wineland Park and Milo Grogan. And by the end of this year, the Community Land Trust will be the largest in Ohio and will be an innovative example of how land banks can address affordable housing. As I've often said, the city cannot solve our housing shortage alone. We need private support as well. And that's when we're grateful for our great private partners. Last year, we set a goal of raising $100 million to a housing action fund. I'm here to report to you tonight that we got it done. Private sector partners committed capital from businesses and nonprofits to be used to develop affordable housing in Columbus. And I want to offer a special thanks to a visionary and strong leader committed to our neighborhoods, Steve Steinauer and the team at Huntington Bank for leading the effort. And I want to commend all of the businesses who have contributed. If there are folks representing the companies that contributed here tonight, would you stand so we could recognize you? This revolving loan fund will offer below-market loans to for-profit and nonprofit developers to build and preserve affordable and mixed-income rental housing. 3 projects in neighborhoods on the north, east, and south sides of our city are already in the works and will yield more than 300 new units of affordable housing for families earning between $25,000 and $40,000 a year. And for the first time in its history, the Columbus Downtown Development Corporation has committed to building 100 affordable housing units downtown this year. More than half of those units will be for families making under $46,000 a year. Every family in every neighborhood should be sharing in Columbus's success. We know the growth of our city and the gap in available housing is leading to another challenge: increased homelessness. There are many reasons for homelessness, but for the first time ever in our community, it is market forces that are creating a lack of housing stock at all price points. Over the years, we've allocated millions of dollars from our general operating fund to the Community Shelter Board to help provide assistance. But increasing shelter space is not the answer. Tonight, I'm committing an additional $1 million to help prevent families from becoming homeless in the first place. But if they do, this investment will also help reduce their shelter stay by moving families back into stable housing more rapidly. And I'm calling on our suburban neighbors to do the same. Family stability affects the region, and I challenge all of our regional partners to work together on this crucial issue. Safety remains top of mind for all of our residents in all of our neighborhoods, and we're continuing efforts to eliminate barriers between police officers and our community. Last year, we went through an extensive search for our next police chief that included unprecedented community engagement throughout the search process. I selected Chief Tom Quinlan. Many of you in this room already know Chief Quinlan because he's worked extensively to build community police relations. Chief Quinlan has accepted the findings of the Matrix consulting firm that documented racism and discrimination that both residents and officers of color experience, and he has begun implementing the recommendations. Chief Quinlan also worked closely with the Columbus Community Safety Advisory Commission and has also accepted their recommendations that were released last month. Chief Quinlan, would you stand so we can recognize you? Chief Quinlan will hold our officers accountable. I will hold Chief Quinlan accountable. and you will hold me accountable. My expectations for the chief are clear. Increase cultural competency and diversity of our officers. Mentor police officers coming up through the ranks, especially women, people of color, and the LGBTQ. And to explore the formation of a civilian review board that works for Columbus. Chief Quinlan is a champion for building community police relations. He disbanded the Vice Unit and created PACT, which stands for Police and Community Together. PACT is focusing on 3 areas: liquor complaints, abatement issues directly impacting quality of life in our neighborhoods, and human trafficking. Instead of simply arresting people involved in human trafficking, PACT is connecting them with resources for mental health care and addiction, options to help them get off the street. And we're getting to the root cause by prosecuting those who traffic them in the first place. Chief Quinlan knows, I know, and you know, that there is much work to be done to rebuild trust within the community, especially our African American community. We can and must do better, and we will. Our country continues to face an opioid addiction crisis, and the Columbus community has been particularly hard hit, with an average of 2 people dying each day from overdose. The word crisis is not an exaggeration, and the solution is not simple. The latest challenges include a significant increase in overdose deaths involving synthetic opioids, like fentanyl, which are highly toxic and often mixed with street drugs. We recently unveiled an updated Columbus and Franklin County addiction plan to focus our efforts on addiction and the stability of families. It takes a comprehensive community approach to attack this problem. We will increase naloxone training and the number of naloxone doses distributed to our first responders and our clinics to increase the number of overdose reversals. We will collect more syringes for safe disposal and increase testing for hepatitis C. We will increase prevention education through schools and community centers, ensure equity of access to treatment, and reduce the stigma surrounding substance abuse. And tonight, I'm pleased to announce that we are exploring a mobile Suboxone unit to treat those addicted to opioids with a medication proven to help with recovery. In conjunction with our REACT team and area hospitals, this unit will meet those suffering from addiction where they are, in our neighborhoods, and help them on the path to recovery. 2020, we will also explore the impacts of racism on health equity. We know that crime, infant mortality, and poverty often come from racial disparity, sometimes from policies such as redlining, deed restrictions, and other discrimination put in place long ago. But it's not enough to say we passed legislation in 1990 that outlaws discrimination in employment and housing. It's time for us to study the long-term effects of racism and how we're going to correct it going forward. So tonight, I'm asking our health commissioner, Dr. Mashika Roberts, to explore racism as a public health crisis in Columbus and to bring me recommendations for action and implementation by the end of the year. As I said earlier, Columbus is in a strong position for increased population growth because of our relatively low cost of living and access to employment. But we know small businesses make up 80% of all businesses in Columbus. So harnessing the power of entrepreneurship and helping to create an equitable ecosystem requires not just venture capital dollars, but experience like that of Fallon Donahue.
My name is Fallon Donahue. I am a venture capitalist based here in Columbus. This is a great time to be in Columbus. There's a lot of great activity happening in the startup community, a lot of support from our local businesses and the local government. I actually met the startup community through an old job that I had because I was trying to sell things to entrepreneurs. Around that time, Venture Ohio, a nonprofit based in Columbus with a statewide focus, was looking for somebody to lead the organization, and I threw my hand up and I ended up doing that for nearly 5 years. Sadie was born out of an epiphany I had actually in Los Angeles. I was in a founders meeting, and that's when we all realized that every single check writer in the room was a man. And I started to reflect of my own hometown in Columbus and realized that there were no female-founded venture capital funds that existed in the city, and so we launched. I was extremely excited to work with Share because I believe in what they're building and I believe in the entrepreneur. Ryan is an incredible entrepreneur. He's built an incredible team, and his passion and dedication around the mission and the problem that he's trying to solve, and his passion and dedication to building this here in Columbus was something I knew I definitely wanted to be a part of. Share is a microtransit company focused on offering mobility as a service to employers and seniors around the city. Getting vehicles off of the road, allowing families to reduce to one car and save costs for their families, and of course reducing emissions around our city. I do believe that we're on an incredible trajectory, and this is a great time to launch a venture capital firm based in Columbus. I really believe that this is just the beginning.
Thank you, Fallon, for your work in supporting startups in Columbus and throughout the state. You know, our Smart Columbus initiative brought jobs and outcomes to the city with transformative money from the U.S. Department of Transportation and Paul G. Allen Philanthropies, a pilot program that helps individuals with cognitive disabilities navigate transit with greater independence while staying connected to their caregivers. A new app called Pivot that helps residents plan convenient, affordable trips around town using the many mobility services Columbus has to offer. But this year, we'll roll out a payment system within the app that will engage our unbanked residents to pay for rides with cash, granting them access to systems they previously couldn't access without a debit or a credit card. And we launched a self-driving shuttle in Linden just last week, which is helping to connect residents to the resources at St. Stephen's Community House, Douglas Recreation Center, the Rosewind Resident Council, and the Linden Transit Center. We know that Columbus has the fastest growing economy in the Midwest. And since 2016, we together have created almost 10,000 new jobs from economic development projects. We've created a payroll of almost $600 million from these jobs that help to pay for core city services in neighborhoods throughout our city. Our return on investment for private funding over 4 years has been $27 for every $1 of city money. That is an investment strategy that works. But we know small businesses are a cornerstone not only of growth, but dynamic and inclusive growth. That's why we partnered with Next Street to assess the small business ecosystem in Columbus. And it revealed some gaps, including disproportionate challenges in accessing capital for people of color and women, and a disconnect between service providers and entrepreneurs who live and operate in under-resourced neighborhoods. So in moving forward with our small business assessment program will do the following: expand awareness of resources by identifying liaisons for community partnerships. We'll conduct focus groups among entrepreneur support organizations to identify collective training needs and capability gaps. We'll develop a capital readiness assessment process to prepare small business owners to take advantage of capital options. And we're going to engage and encourage anchor institutions to adopt buy local thinking. Finally, tonight, I would like to talk about sustainability, which is key to our equity agenda. The impact of climate change isn't just happening on faraway shores. It affects our most vulnerable neighbors right here, right now in Columbus neighborhoods. Extreme temperatures can lead to higher energy bills, oftentimes for folks that can afford them the least, and increased home repairs. Heavy rains can cause flooding basements. In the city of Columbus, we believe in science, and we believe that climate change is a threat to our most vulnerable residents. This is not merely inconvenient, but can be life-threatening for a senior on the South Side on a fixed income, or a single mother in Milo Grogan working 2 jobs just to get by. More 90-plus degree days equates to air quality concerns for children fighting asthma across the city, and potential for heat stroke and other health concerns for those without access to cooling. Cities in general are hotter than rural areas, and our opportunity neighborhoods already feel that directly with higher incidence of asthma. That's why I have embedded sustainability into the fabric of our work here at the city through Sustainable Columbus. It's imperative that we promote cleaner and more prosperous neighborhoods with plenty of green space, air that's easier to breathe, and water that's safe to drink. This past year, Sustainable Columbus had many successes. My administration set a goal of having 30,000 home energy audits done in the city by the end of 2020 as a way to support our climate and energy work. To date, 20,000 of those audits have been completed, showing homeowners different improvements they can make to increase the energy efficiency of their properties. And as we look ahead to this year and beyond, I am setting a commitment for the city of Columbus to be carbon neutral by 2050. Over the next year, my administration will be working on a framework to implement climate change policies that will put the city on track to meet this goal. As a community and region, I'm calling on each of us to think more boldly, to innovate, and to invest in systemic change around climate and sustainability. One bold program I intend to put on the ballot in November is community choice aggregation. This will allow our community to provide power from 100% renewable energy sources. Residents will still receive service through the wires from their existing utility provider, but it allows us to guarantee that 100% of the power used in our homes will come from renewable sources like wind and solar by 2022. Not only will this help our climate goals and commitments and build resiliency for our residents that are facing the ill effects of climate change first, but it will drive workforce development and job creation in the clean energy sector for our city and for our region. And by aggregating demand, our community can use our bulk buying power to negotiate competitive rates with suppliers. We will make the case that renewable energy is best for Columbus and our region, and that our residents should have the ability to choose. Neighbors, America is more divided than ever. We continue to live more segregated lives. I know there are divisions right here in Columbus. People who feel left out or left behind. Families that are struggling to make ends meet. Residents who see all the accolades the city receives and wonder if that's the same city they live in. But as a city, we have the ability to unite and unify, to close this divide. The changes we've talked about tonight are changes for a generation to create a better and brighter future for everyone. And I need every one of you to make it happen. We have the opportunity right now to go on a very different journey than the nation as a whole is taking. While other cities have grown quickly, we have a chance to grow dynamically and inclusively. A chance for shared prosperity and equity. Everything I laid out tonight is ultimately about equity. Birth to 5, diversity, neighborhoods, public safety, health, affordable housing, innovation, and sustainability. Our journey will not be easy. Quite honestly, nothing in our lives that means anything to us is. It will not happen quickly, but we need to show up, learn from all voices, and be willing to learn and change and lead in a new, bold direction. I know that our best days are still ahead of us, Columbus. And I know we will get there together. God bless you, and God bless the city of Columbus.